President Carter traveled the world in his lifetime, returning back to where it all started for him in Plains. Atlanta News First anchor Sean Gables has the story.
It is in some ways the same now as it was 80 years ago. To stroll around downtown Plains in the 21st century is to walk virtually the same steps Jimmy Carter would have walked as a young boy. The same country roads and storefronts, the same farm on which Carter grew up, forever preserved as a National Historic Site.
This is where he lived from the age of 4.
With park rangers like Randy Dillard helping tell the Carter family story.
In 1928, they had no electricity or running water, so you see the outhouse here in the backyard. Of course, the Carters lived off the land.
For Jimmy and his siblings, it was a life of hard work. Their father Earl and mother Lillian demanded nothing less than a full day's labor on top of excellence in school and regular attendance at church. In the evening, if they wanted chicken for dinner, they had to go out back and catch one.
Growing up, President Carter thought...
Dillard says perhaps more important than the work ethic President Carter learned on his father's peanut farm were the character traits he developed. At a time when segregation was still the rule, Carter's parents went against the grain in what they taught Jimmy.
This place was very significant in the fact that as a young child, he would help his mother take care of the African-American residents in this area. And Miss Lillian taught all of her children to take care of those people.
They were the principles Carter took with him to the governor's chair at the Capitol, where in 1971, he announced in his inaugural speech that the time for discrimination in Georgia was over. And even as he ascended to the presidency of the United States, Carter never forgot where he came from. The experience he gained while serving on the school board in Sumter County helped pave the way for his career in politics and service to the world.
It's hard for me to say how much it must mean to him. The thought that he didn't think of going anywhere else when he retired from the presidency. From what he says, he just always wanted to come back to Plains.
Friends like Elaine Halgabook knew President Carter from their days as children. She recalls when he first asked her friend Rosalynn Smith out for a date. Carter and Smith were engaged not long after. Their marriage, born in Plains.
We all knew each other from the beginning of our lives. We had to sort of pinch ourselves to realize that the Jimmy from Plains was the Jimmy in the White House.
Even she was surprised when in his later years, President Carter spent more and more time back home. He was often seen walking the streets of Plains with Rosalynn.
You take for granted ability.
And he continued teaching Sunday school at his church until he was no longer able to serve. In the end, his life revolved around the town he treasured so deeply, the town that helped shape the man who would become president.